There are moments in life that stick with you. Memories that stay sharp, vivid in the mind's eye, even decades later. The kind that leave you questioning what you saw and why it might have chose you to see it. Tonight's story comes from a quiet Maine neighborhood in the summer of 2001, where a woman sitting alone in her living room witnessed something that to this day she still struggles to explain. It's just before midnight. The warm evening air carries with it the comforting noises of New England's summer. Gentle, almost nostalgic, like the first notes from a song you've heard 1,000 times. A woman sits alone in her living room while her family sleeps upstairs. The TV flickers in the dark, casting a soft blue glow across the room. The only sound, her own breathing, and the low hum of the ceiling fan. She glances toward the window, expecting to see the familiar silhouette of her house against the backdrop of the night sky. And that's when she sees it. A vaguely humanoid figure sitting on the lower slope of her roof. At first, she thinks it's a man, a naked man, perched strangely, almost casually, just above her line of sight. Her stomach twists into a knot of apprehension. She stands slowly, drawn toward the window by a mix of fear and disbelief. She needs to know if she's imagining this, or if someone is actually on her roof. As she steps closer, the details begin to sharpen. The figure isn't naked at all. It's covered in coarse black hair. Whatever it was seemed to be staring off into the night, watching something, or simply surveying the quiet streets of the neighborhood. And then it turns its head. Pointed ears, a long snout, features that don't belong on a human face. But the posture, the way it sits, the way it moves, feels disturbingly human. The woman freezes, afraid to even breathe. She stares, terrified that at any moment she will draw its attention. For a moment, The world narrows to the space between her and the creature on the roof. Eventually, she realizes the creature hasn't noticed her. Or at least, it's pretending not to. She backs away from the window, careful not to make a sound. She hurries upstairs to wake her husband, desperate for someone else to see what she's seeing. She climbs the stairs in darkness. Tiptoeing slowly, she makes her way to their bedroom and gently nudges the door open. She places her hand on her husband's shoulder to wake him. She whispers to him about the thing that she had seen waiting out there in the moonlight. But he doesn't believe her. He won't get out of bed. He mutters that she must be imagining things or had a dream. Defeated, the woman makes the slow descent back down to the living room. As she crept down the stairs in the gloom, only briefly broken by the flickering light cast by the TV in the living room, her heart hammering in her chest, she could feel a cold dread filling her. The thought of what might be waiting just outside of her home as her family slept terrified her. But by the time she returned to the window, the roof was empty. Whatever she had seen was gone, replaced by nothing but darkness and the utter silence of the night. The next morning, she wakes early and checks the roof. Much to her dismay and astonishment, there's no footprints, no damage, no sign that anyone or anything was ever there. She tells her children. They listen, their skepticism clear on their faces, but gently suggest she may have misidentified a known animal. A dog, a coyote, a trick of the light. But she knows what she saw. Years pass. The details begin to grow fuzzy, but the experience remains the same. Then decades go by, and the story becomes something she shares with her grandchildren. A strange memory from a night living in a quiet suburb of Maine. One of her grandchildren decides to look into the story. They search online for evidence of creatures matching her description, and what they find unsettles them. Sketches, stories, accounts from people who have seen something similar. A dog-like figure with human posture, appearing on quiet woodland trails, in fields, or along lonely roads. When they show her the images, she feels the same dread she felt that night in 2001. She says it's like looking directly at the thing she saw on her roof. And she wonders quietly, almost to herself, whether creatures like that might have existed long ago, or whether they still do. So what was on the rooftop that night? A misidentified animal? A trick of the light? A moment of imagined hallucinations brought on as the mind tried to fight off sleep? Or perhaps something older, something that appears in stories across cultures throughout history. wolf-like humanoids, shapeshifters, creatures that blur the line between human and beast. Whatever she saw, it left its mark deep enough to last decades. The memory, still vivid enough to convince her grandchildren to go searching for answers all those years later. And fear strong enough that she still wonders what was looking back at her from that rooftop. If you've ever stared out a window late at night, looking into the darkness of the trees, you know how reflections and shadows can play tricks on you. But according to the witness, this wasn't a shadow. 2 pointed ears, a long defined snout, a human-like figure. Something was sitting on that roof, and while years passed, memories fade. She never truly forgot the terror she felt on that night. If you've seen something like this, a creature that doesn't fit neatly into the world we know, I'd like to hear your story. Even a small detail can help reveal things about what lurks in the shadows. And if you want to keep exploring the strange corners of Maine with me, light the lantern by subscribing. Stay safe out there. Keep the blinds closed, hiker.